And if we flip the acoustic panels 90 degrees over, you can see that it looks a lot more aesthetically pleasing as opposed to the more cost effective bed sheet. So whatever budget you're working to, you can always work your way around them panels. A 2D or 3D diffuser could be somewhat expensive to fabricate, so I've utilized the leftover bits of the rock wool, cut pieces of towels, chuck the rock wool in and super glued it together, so I've put each individual rock wool towel glued pieces in their respective square slot holes in the trinket. So I've utilized this diffuser to treat bass sounds at the back wall. And if you're working on a budget, you can also utilize your bookshelf or a Kallax, stock it in with books like I've done here, as this would help to diffuse or absorb, the low frequency bass sounds, which is what we're really worried about. And better still, if you've got a Kallax that runs from top to bottom of your back wall, the better. Isolation in your room is not easy to overcome as it can be quite expensive. It's got hidden costs, the resale value is an issue, the construction needs permits. So when acoustically trying to treat your room, you have to be as ingenious as possible with your budget. You can treat or make your front wall soft by getting acoustic panels behind each speaker. You can also fabricate and install bass straps at the top and bottom corners or wherever you've got corners in the room to help tame or absorb those booming frequencies. Seal any airspace so that sound does not leak out. You can use special caulking that's got a shelf life of over 10 years or green glue or acoustic putty. Sound isolation requires mass and air, so treat your room like an aquarium. Seal around skirting boards anywhere you've got gaps, or holes or crevices. Seal that, the apertures in the room to help with the isolation. So the idea is to treat your studio as an aquarium. So I'm sealing the gaps, at the skirting boards, around the corners, and visually inspecting all the nooks and crannies, identifying anywhere there is an airspace and sealing off, the airspace. It is the low frequencies that bug people and not the high frequencies. The smaller the room, the more the reflection in the room. A square or rectangular room does not make a good sound control and performance room. And that's because we need to take into account how far a wave is deflected by the time it gets to the opposite wall. So pretty much what I mean by this is that, a square room means more standing waves, bad echoes and ringing. This isn't a square room, but it is a small room, so I'm also worried about, reflections in the room. But, we're working to budget here. We have to make use of what we've got, okay? If you've got a square room, you may want to reduce the effect by utilizing resonators, panel traps, or you might want to splay the entire wall. And if you're not improvising when sealing off gaps, in the studio, you could utilize the painter's tape and the Fuji kit to give it a more aesthetically looking and pleasing look. The next step would be to install the eye hooks, insert the plugs, into the wall and, mount the acoustic panels. You only need about 3 acoustic panels mounted. If you're worried about low frequencies, you can treat your front wall by making it soft, by adding like 2 more acoustic panels. And here, just by looking at this utility storage room, you can see that the trinket needs to cover the whole of the back wall, okay? And not just the square perimeter, on the back wall. And here, you only need 3 panels, within the reflection free zone. So, wherever your speakers are facing from the front wall is where you make soft or is where you place your panels. We take audio cues from the reflections off the floor. It doesn't matter if you've got concrete, wood or carpet, just make sure that it's not too dead. As if you've got no reflections off the floor, it means that the room is way dead, okay? And as you can see, one of the downsides of working in a confined space is that you cannot adequately decouple your monitor. And as you can see, I have decoupled the monitor with an acoustic foam and towel off the floor. But if I had more headroom, I would have been able to utilize a decoupling stand, okay? So I have decoupled the monitors with RockWool and acoustic foam, but if you've got headroom, you can use a decoupling stand. And these are some of the tools that were utilized in the acoustic panel build. You could also use, acoustic foam, but, it pretty much does nothing for the low frequency cycles. As the foam is quite thin, it could help, acoustic cycles of 1,000 and above, okay? And, to stick it on the wall, you could get some Command Velcro 3M stickers, okay? Peel off the adhesive covering, stick it onto the back of the acoustic foam, and then, you could stick it onto the wall. But, mind you, sometimes you may get, your paint peeling off when you're taking off the acoustic foam. But, the command strips, reduce the effects of paint peeling off a considerable length, okay? And lastly, isolation connotes mass and airspace. So if you've got a wall, airspace, and a wall, then you'd have better isolation. To achieve the wall mass and the airspace involves a lot of construction and it's quite expensive. So utilize the acoustic treatment techniques that have been highlighted previously. And you should be able to improve the isolation capabilities of your studio. And that's about it really. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Helps the channel grow. And hopefully catch up with you later. Goodbye.